ultimately, they went inside my property, Harris County Jail property room, where all my property, watch, everything was, and they took the front sheet of the legal pad and claimed they found this at the scene of the crime. This whole sheet of yellow, blue line writing paper, they claimed they found it in plain view on the front floor passenger side of the car. He documented his find 90 days after the offense. And that's why I want to bring it to show you, because when you find evidence, you have to document it.
Right.
And you document it by initialing your so-called find. And I blew it up so you can see it. This is the blown up version. I don't know if you can see the date. The date is in your left hand corner.
Okay.
Just say 8/9.
I can't see the date, but I this is a copy of the actual.
This is actual paper. This is a copy of the actual paper.
Okay.
State exhibit number 30.
Okay.
And he also claimed it was blood spatter on this paper.
Oh, I see the date now.
Yeah. So
Okay.
they have to document it. So he initialed it, he dated it, and the date he claimed was 90 days after the offense that he said he found it. Okay. There's several things wrong with this, and this is my proof, and this is my evidence. The one who claimed he found the sheet of paper, he wasn't an original processor of the evidence. He wasn't even part of the crew who would process the evidence. Two guys, officer named Paul Motard and Gil Schultz. Gil Schultz, they were the first responders. Went to the scene of the crime, found the victim in his car. He had been shot, found him in his car. So they did a very meticulous, itemized listing of everything they found. Very meticulous. And I have what they said they found. I have that here as well. But particularly in the front floor passenger side, well, officer named Cooper, Leonard Cooper, claimed he found this 90 days later. They made an itemized listing of everything they found. There's no evidence of a yellow sheet of paper with blood spatter. Because as a trained officer, you're going to be drawn to blood evidence. Maybe take it in and process it and see if you can get some hint of who did this.
Right.
That's not there. Then a guy came behind him named Fingerhut. He took 24 pictures of the crime scene. 18 pictures were items inside the car, and 6 were on the outside. And there's no evidence. There's nothing in these pictures, because we have the pictures.
No yellow
sheet of paper, and nothing with blood spatter, because he would have tuned in on the blood spatter.
Right.
Okay. Then they took the car to the Houston Police Department vehicle examination stall. And they had CSI, Ms. Danita Smith. She came in and she scrubbed the car thoroughly for forensic evidence, everything. So she ended up finding the victim's class ring. He had a class ring and a wet ring that was slightly up under the car on the front floor passenger side, the same area where he said he found my sheet of paper. So I even asked the judge, how are you gonna find something as small as 2 rings and miss something as big as an 8x11 sheet of paper?
Yellow.
Yeah, she definitely wrote that down.
Yeah.
But she wrote down everything she found. That's not part of it. So I don't know if the DA just didn't think deep enough, but the evidence of what was found was already into the records. That was already established. That's already written in stone. So for you to come 90 days later and then try to insert this into evidence and claim you found this into evidence, to me, you just didn't think deep enough. Because if you would have known that it's already itemized listing, already pictures, it's already another itemized listing from another person. That's 4 people who didn't see this. But now you come 90 days later and claim you found this. And here's really the clincher. And you can investigate this. May 13th, about 7 days after the offense, they sent the car back to the victim's family.
After they did all that,
she scrubbed and everything, she didn't need it. They sent it back. So you claim you found this in August, but you didn't even have access to the car in August because it was already returned back to the victim's family. So it was just a total concoction to put me at the scene of the crime. This is the only evidence that they have to put me at the scene of the crime.
I was told that you requested that evidence to see it, but you were told that it was destroyed. Is that correct?
Yeah, they, I don't know if it's destroyed or not. It just didn't want to release it.
Okay.
But what we wanted to do was prove two things. One, there was no blood on this sheet of paper. That was a concoction. And two, there probably was no fingerprint. He claimed he found my single right index fingerprint on my paper. And it's possible I could have done that. But we wanted to prove it because when they interviewed me about 120 days after the offense, and I had the interview right here, at no time did they mention a fingerprint. They said they talked to a handwriting expert, and he confirmed this is your handwriting. Nothing about no fingerprint. And so they explained, but how do you think it got into the car? And I told them it didn't get into the car. This is concoction. I got it all right here. So this exchange, when they realized, it took a while for me to snap. Because I'm looking at my papers. And he said, but is that your handwriting? Yeah, definitely my notes. But I'm trying to, where did they get this from? It didn't register until later. When it hit me, it was like, boom. And I told them, you didn't find this in the car. You found this in my property. This was to come out of my briefcase. I remember specifically being the front page of my legal pad. They looked at each other, and they abruptly ended that interview. And it's all recorded. It's all recorded. So they kept with the lie, I guess, and just went on with it. And so that's what they're using to put me at this scene. I was at home baking pies. Got a statement in the court, because one of the guys who was with me, he vouched, man was right here with us.
Oh, at the time of
The time that they said it occurred.
offense.
Yeah, I was at home baking pies. My ex-wife, she can vouch, but I had a friend named Qatar, and he wrote an affidavit and everything. Never even called him. This is what my lawyer did. My lawyer claimed he couldn't find none of the witnesses. They were right there in the courtroom. I pointed to them. They're right there. What you mean you can't find them?
You said your lawyer
My
said
lawyer, my
your
lawyer
lawyer
who
couldn't
tried
find
my
them.
case, Isaac Henderson. He said he couldn't find the witnesses. So I had no witnesses advanced to trial. And he told me, even though I was a first offender, never been in trouble, man, you don't need to take that stand. You said you was not guilty, that's enough. You don't need to go through the rigor of cross-examination and him tricking you up. You don't need that. But I learned later, because I didn't have no history, he couldn't cross me up on anything. And then standing on truth, you can't cross me up on that because I know the truth.
Yeah.
So this is what led to the sheet of paper. Well, in the 80s, they had a thing called Boogie Down. I don't know if you ever heard that expression.
I have.